We join the game at this point where it's roundabout even between Arjun Erigaisi and Avital Boruchovsky, a grandmaster from Israel. And we are playing at the Jerusalem Masters 2025. This is round number 4, the first round of day 2. It's a rapid tournament with 15 plus 10 time control. Arjun is thinking about his move. He has the two bishops. Black has a bishop and a knight. Black has the pawn on e4, so some attacking chances, whenever you have this pawn here. On the other hand, white has made inroads on the queen side. Arjun, as always, looking very calm. He goes knight to g3. The bishop comes back to d5, defending the pawn here. And Arjun pushes his pawn to a6, trying to break apart the black queen side structure. Pawn comes up to b6 by Avital. And now rook to c2. The plan is to double down the c file and then take on d5 to enter in. He plays pawn to h5, a very good move, threatening h4, h3. Arjun takes. And now queen takes d5. You could have also taken with the pawn, which was perhaps the better way to play, because now the c6 pawn is quite weak. You can play h4 here, but Avital first defends the pawn on c6. He knows that he can go rook e6, rook c8, so he has enough defensive ammunition here. Knight to e2. The knight is going to f4. Very dangerous to play such positions against Arjun Erigaisi. Queen b5 played, keeping an eye on the knight, on the pawn, and on b2 pawn. h3 played, a useful move so that black doesn't get in h4, h3. And now Avital goes knight to d5. He brings his knight into the center of the board, and Arjun has a choice now. He can go knight to c3 and trade off these knights, which perhaps for him leads to a risk-free major piece endgame. He takes with the pawn. I would have imagined him taking with the rook here, but I think Arjun has other plans in mind. He wants to go c4, maybe c5 later, but now if black swings his queen over to the king side, that's what he's planning to do. Queen g5, now rook g6 coming in. There's a mate threatened here on g2. You have to be very careful. King h2 played here. And the idea is if rook g6, you can play rook to g1, defending the g2 pawn. Avital thinks for a bit. And plays his pawn to h4. Well, this move kind of fixes this structure. The white king looks a bit boxed in at this point. And Arjun is kind of now figuring things out what to do. He goes rook d2. He wants to maybe push the pawn in the center with d5. In that sense, Arjun is really an active player. He always is looking for opportunities. He's looking for his chances. And Avital goes rook to d8, fighting against the move d5. And Avital has somehow made Arjun think a lot. He's gone below his opponent's time. Rook g1 played. Not a move that you play happily, but somewhere I think Arjun is looking for a counter attack with g3. Rook comes up to d6. So he brings his rook up. And Arjun now pushes pawn to c5. A very interesting move. And I guess his plan is if b takes c5, you can't take. Your rook is hanging. You can't even take with the queen because queen takes queen. So what's his plan actually? Arjun goes queen a5. Wow, he pins it this way. He's trying to take now with the pawn, and then the rook is defended and the queen can enter. Very interesting move. Queen d5 may be the best move here in the position. But he goes rook f6, which is also a fine move. He's putting pressure here on the f2 pawn. D takes c5 can be played here. It's a decent move and one that I guess many players would go for. But Arjun Being Arjun here, he's going to go for something else, pretty sure. Queen c7, making the position even more complicated, attacking a7 pawn. He wants to just queen here. It's difficult to face Arjun Erigaisi. He's always so tricky and puts so much pressure on the opponent. 1 minute for Avital Boruchovsky to find what to do. He takes on d4 and now queen takes a7, taken. And the main point here is that after d takes e3, you can basically just play rook takes d6 and then take the pawn on e3 and the position is roundabout even. But he gives a check first and that's a mistake. Queen e5. And now very important not to take here on e3. Black would be lost. The best move is to go back rook d8. He takes. It's a blunder. Arjun must play queen b8 check, pinning the rook and fe3 and the a pawn simply queens. There's no moves left. Can Arjun play that? It's simple. It's straightforward for him. He has 1 minute 36 seconds. His opponent has only 7 seconds on the clock. Arjun calmly looking at the position. Queen e3 is not that great because after I take, I am potentially able to go rook d6, rook d8 and stop the a pawn. But queen b8. And Arjun has 1 minute 16 seconds. He's been thinking for quite some time now. Pretty sure he sees it. Rook takes d6 is a mistake. Because then he takes... Oh, he blunders! He blunders and Avital can now take... He takes f2. Arjun misses this point. Because rook d8, just king h7. And this pawn is not only hitting the rook, but e3, e2, e1. You're just having these two incredible pawns with the rook and queen. Now, rook takes f6. This must be taken. So that if queen, king takes... This is at least chance for a draw. It's actually an equal position. So very important for Arjun to either take, maybe give a check and try to bring your queen back to d4. It's even in spite of being a rook down. And Arjun, they're losing time on the clock. 35 seconds, 30 seconds, down to 30 seconds. What should he do here? Oh, he blunders with rook d1. And look at Avital there. He gets the queen in his hand. e3 is winning now. He's completely beating the world-class GM Arjun e3. Look at these two pawns. e2 is coming next. e1. I mean, you take one rook, the other pawn is ready to queen. These two pawns are like two queens. Black is totally winning. Arjun has now 20 seconds. Avital knows that he's winning here. Queen d7, e2, push. Don't think too much. Push here. Yes, he pushes. Gets 5 seconds more on the clock. a7, Arjun trying to make his own queen. f takes g1, queen. Takes with the rook and now e1 queen is winning. Game over. If you make a queen, I just step aside. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, he makes a queen. He didn't have enough time and he loses on time. And Arjun is like, I'm very sorry. And look at Avital Boruchovsky. He's so unhappy there. Avital, well, he asks the arbiter that, I had to kind of stretch to get the queen and I lost on time. But this is part of the game. This is part of the battle there. And I can understand that Avital is so upset because he could have won. He could have caused a huge upset here by beating Arjun with the black pieces. Just look at the final position. You queen here. Look at him. He's so sad here at this point. And he's like, Arjun is like, you might be better. But yeah, it's just over actually. Queen, if you take this is over because of takes, king h2, and just queen g3 check, king g1. And I mean, there are many ways to win this, but maybe the easiest way is to give a check, king here, and king h7. If opponent makes a queen here, then you can go rook f1 with a forced mate that's coming up. So that is one way. The other way, of course, is that if he makes a queen, you just simply play this position with two queens on the board and it's winning for black. So big miss there for Avital, but Arjun escapes by the skin of his teeth.